So this is a common time of year when New Year's resolutions are starting and people start deciding that they're going to do exercising. But I know with hypothyroidism, it can be a really big struggle. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. You kind of don't know what exercises you should do, if you should exercise. So I want to go over a few essential mindset shifts for exercising with hypothyroidism. But if you could do me a very big favor, if you could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get notification when I release a new video every single week. So these are some of the things that I actually had to learn myself on my own thyroid journey with exercising with hypothyroidism. First and foremost, what I want to make very, very clear is that you actually can and should exercise with hypothyroidism. But you have to keep in mind that one of the big mindset shifts with it is you still have to be very, very diligent with listening to your body. That was one thing that I had to learn on my own journey. Was I was an over-exerciser. I had gained quite a bit of weight initially when I was diagnosed, and then it just kind of started piling on very quickly. So I was told by numerous doctors that I needed to exercise more. And I was over-exercising, and I was actually putting on more weight because my thyroid was never getting a break. It was never getting a chance to catch up, and I was really straining my adrenals. So I had to really work on my mindset part that it's okay to actually cut back. When I started cutting back and didn't over-exercise, I actually started losing weight. But I had to also get into the mindset that I still needed to exercise, because then I became very fearful that I shouldn't exercise at all, when in fact I knew better than that, and I knew that I needed movement in. It was just I needed to cut back. I was doing really intense cardio for long duration periods of time, and that was not good for my thyroid nor my adrenals. So what I did was I switched to mostly just doing weight training. If I did cardio, it was only as an interval, and it was maybe 15 minutes. So I was fluctuating my heart rate. I never did any more steady state. And I switched over to that about probably 12 years ago, and haven't done cardio since. The only cardio that I do, like I said, it's an interval. So I really had to work on my mindset that it's okay that I'm not doing all this cardio. It's okay that I'm not exercising for 2 to 3 hours a day like I was doing. It's okay that I'm not doing that. I started feeling so much better and noticing big changes. So that was a really big mindset shift that I think is super important when you are exercising with hypothyroidism. Yes, you should exercise. You actually do need the movement, but you can't kill yourself. You need to find that really good balance. For some, weight training might still be too much. Maybe you do need to do more stretching and going for long walks. That is something that I also have incorporated. I do a walk almost every single day. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's only 20 minutes, but it's just a slow, leisurely stroll, usually with my dog. But I feel that almost everyone with hypothyroidism should get outside at some point during the day, and going for a walk, getting out in nature, getting vitamin D, whether it's cloudy or not, works quite well. Another one that I had to really work on, and that I do suggest for all of my clients when we are thinking about mindset with exercising, weight training is not going to bulk you. And I know as a woman, and that's why I was doing so much cardio back in the day when I was first diagnosed, and very little weight training, because I was always under the impression that if I did weight training, I was going to bulk and I needed to do cardio. And I became a cardio queen, and it did not work for me. So when I quit doing all that cardio and I switched over to doing weight training, I actually just saw so many big changes. One, because I wasn't doing this long duration cardio and taxing my adrenals and my thyroid. Two, I was putting muscle on. So keep in mind, with hypothyroidism, it's very common for us to lose muscle mass. It's very common for us to really have a hard time keeping or gaining muscle mass. So doing weight training is so good for hypothyroidism. I actually do suggest it at least a few times a week. Even if you're doing body weight exercises, it's still some type of resistance. Instead of just doing stretching or walking, I do suggest it. And then I actually work with my clients where we will get them to not only do body weight exercises, but they will start adding weights in. And it just becomes such a really good routine for exercising with hypothyroidism. So you do not need to worry about bulking. It takes a lot of reps, a lot of heavy weight, and a lot of other factors to bulk from doing weight training as a woman. It doesn't work like that, like it does for men. So I am not scared anymore of doing weight training. In fact, I do it 5 to 6 days a week because it feels so amazing for me, and it doesn't hurt my body. It doesn't hurt my adrenals. It doesn't hurt my thyroid. And it keeps my body just super happy. So that's definitely a mindset shift that I would suggest working on if you are fearful of that, because I know I was. The other thing to also keep in mind, and I mentioned this a little bit ago, is the mindset shift that you can't exercise with hypothyroidism. So I wanted to touch base on this just a little bit more. I know that there's so much conflicting information out there, like I mentioned, that, when you have hypothyroidism, you need to just cut back on working out altogether. What that is referencing, and there are studies out on this, that it is taxing on your adrenals when you're doing all this long duration cardio. It's very taxing on the adrenals, and the adrenals are so closely connected to the thyroid. So they can really be affected by this. So, when you're really struggling with hypothyroidism and you have a ton of symptoms, especially with like Hashimoto's too, you have all these symptoms. And a lot of times you don't have the energy to do a really intense workout anyways. Well, then you start getting fearful. And I went through this. You start getting very scared and fearful, like you're going to just keep making things worse if you are exercising. So that's why I had mentioned, first of all, find what works for you. I know when I had to cut severely back on my cardio and stopped it altogether and started switching to weight training, I had to go slow with it. So I was only doing a couple days a week. I wasn't doing very long workouts, maybe a half hour. And I was only doing super, super lightweight, a lot of body weight when I started. So keep that in mind, that it's still very person dependent, but you should actually move with hypothyroidism. Do not be scared of it. We need the movement. The movement is so good for our body. It's so good for our hormones. It's so good for our thyroid, but you have to keep in check what you're doing. So I would definitely suggest, if you're kind of newer to exercising because you have been kind of nervous or you didn't really know what to do, to work with a practitioner who's kind of specializes, like myself. I specialize in thyroid and movement. I am a physical therapist and personal trainer, as well as a functional medicine health coach. So I have that kind of background where I can do all of it. So I would suggest finding someone like that can help you, so that you're not necessarily getting the typical eat less, exercise more kind of suggestions by a lot of people who are not familiar with functional medicine and the true benefits of exercise, but how to do it with your thyroid. I would suggest working with someone like that. I'm always here to answer questions too. If you have any questions with this, absolutely reach out, let me know. I've been in the journey, I've been through it myself, and now I coach my clients with this. So I'm more than happy to chat with you. So I hope this video helps you. Definitely reach out if you have questions. I will see you on the next video. Bye.